I was involved briefly with a married man who believed he had the courage to leave his wife to be with me and to live his truth. This isn't the typical story of a married man promising to leave his wife for a secret lover. Rather, this is a story in part about a gay man who knew he was gay before he got married, but chose to marry a woman because he didn't know how to break free. Rocky and I met on a gay social media site 3 months after I returned to the East Coast to live, and just 11 months after he was married. At the time we met, he was living and working in Dubai as a contractor for the government on a military base, while his wife was stationed in Tallahassee, Florida, where they had a home. In one of the first messages he sent me, Rocky shared that he was married, but that he had regrets. He explained that he had come out to his mother and siblings when he was 18 years old. He sat them.
To listen to more of One Thing for Certain, Two Things for Sure, a memoir continued, visit audible.com. So are you still married?
No, I'm no longer married.
How long were you married, though?
Oh, my gosh. From May 17th, 2002 up until 2009.
So 7 years.
For 7 years.
So what branch of the military were you in? Let me start with
The
that.
Air Force.
You were in the
She
Air
was
Force.
in the Army. So she would live separate. She lived in a separate state than I would. I would live in Alabama around about this time, while she was in South Carolina.
Now, how did you meet?
We met. We was high school from middle school to high school.
And so did the relationship start when you were in high school?
The relationship started when we got out. When we got into the military, he was like, you know what? Let's get married. We want to have children. So we did do some things. We had a miscarriage.
So before we go into that, you're gay and she's gay.
And she's gay.
This is very personal work for me.
Politics.
I believe I was called to tell my story, use my voice, be a voice for the community, to speak to and for a community of people that's been ignored, denied, overlooked.
Religion.
This is my life's work.
Religion.
I want to use words to uplift, heal, inspire, encourage.
Do something different. Every Monday at 10.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. My guest tonight is here because he was involved in a marriage for the purpose of, I don't know, should we say, because you guys you did want to have kids, but for the benefits.
Kids and benefits.
Kids and benefits, because you both were in different branches of the military. So you wanted to enjoy those benefits, which we'll get into, but you identify as gay and she identifies as a lesbian.
As a lesbian.
But as a stud.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was more fascinated about this conversation because I wanted to talk about pegging, because you told me that she used to fuck you. Like, those were your words.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
did you know this going into it? Like, when did, like, because based on what you were sharing with me, it sounds like the relationship started off as a heterosexual, a normal heterosexual sexual relationship, because you said you both wanted a kid.
We both wanted a kid, for one, but it was not even a heterosexual type relationship. I'm into like stud women.
Okay.
So she was very attractive, still is attractive to this day.
So she knew you were gay and you knew she was gay.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like some unspoken thing.
Nothing unspoken.
Okay.
Not at all. But we knew that being in this, where we're from, you know, you can't
Which
come
is
out-
a small town?
A small town. You can't say, hey, I'm gay or this and that.
What small town is it? Can we know that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Middle Georgia.
Middle Georgia, okay. Okay, so go ahead. So you both were from a small town and
From Middle Georgia.
you went to high school together.
Middle school, high school together.
Okay.
I went into the military first when I was still in high school. She went in after
Okay.
the military. So when she got in, we was like, you know what? Hey, let's go ahead. Let's get married. For the benefit. That was the first time. For the benefits. Did we fool around when we were in middle school and high school? We really started fooling around when...
So you didn't fool around in middle school?
No.
Or high school?
We actually started fooling around when we got out.
Okay, of high school.
Out of high school.
So take me to the first time that you guys had a sexual relationship.
Oh, wow. So the first time we had a sexual encounter was when we went to Birmingham, Alabama one night. It was all with our friends.
Were you in a relationship or you just were hanging out as friends at this point?
Hanging out with friends at this point. So me and her knew each other. We didn't met. The only thing we did when we were in middle school and high school, probably kissed or whatever like that, but never sexual.
Okay.
I was scared back then. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was scared back then of girls, but I had this attraction about a stud. Masculine women.
Yeah.
It was just always that. So we was in Birmingham, got drunk. She was in her room, I was in my room with some of my friends, and went out. Me and her actually went out to Waffle House. Okay. Really. After the club, we all of us went back to the room. We were left out and went to the Waffle House. Came back. We was in a car. And it started right there in the car.
What started?
The kissing, did she kiss you or did you kiss her? I kissed because we was already drunk. We was already messed up that night. We got into the back seat and we went from there.
And so, was she more aggressive than you that first time?
The first time I was more the aggressor. Okay. But we, like I said, was just in that moment.
So you were on top of her,
right? Okay. That first moment, we was that first time. I was on top of her.
So were you between her legs or were you straddling her?
I was in between her legs.
Okay, so you were in between her legs. Yeah. Like a traditional sexual role with a man and a woman.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that first time. But you didn't have sex that time.
We did have a little playtime.
What's that? This is so much to say. Black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Did you eat her?
Oral, a lot of oral.
She sucked your dick.
Sucked my dick. I ate her out, licked on it, the nipples or whatever.
And the reason that I'm asking for specificity is not to be all in your business, but because when I think of a stud, I don't imagine a stud wanting to indulge in fellatio, sucking dick.
She was into it.
And she was okay with you eating her? Okay. Had you been with a woman before other than her at this point?
I've been with a woman way before her. I have, but I did not enjoy it. Okay. It was like she was not a stud. Right. So I didn't really enjoy what we had going on. Okay. So
you're eating her. She's doing
her thing. She's behind me.
She's behind you doing what?
Sucking and playing.
With your asshole?
Absolutely. Eating and playing with my asshole. Okay. Yes, absolutely. And after that, we went back. We got back home or whatever. This time I was in the military at the time, and she was about to get into the military. Okay. Like I said, she was in the Army. Right. I was in Air Force. And we got back. We got together again, and we just started trying other things.
How much time had elapsed from the first time to the second time?
Let's say about 3 or 4 months later. Okay. 3 or 4 months later, we met up again. We was in our hometown this time. Okay. Got a hotel room, and I just think it was something. She actually asked me. She asked me, "Hey, let's do something freaky." I said, "Okay." Like what? So she's like, "I'll show you." So she put out her little
video, a phone.
No.
Oh, I thought she was going to show you something on the.
No.
Go ahead.
She pulled out her little strap on. I was like, "What is that?" She was like,
"Now, at this point, had you been penetrated before
from a guy?"
Yeah.
I was in a relationship with a guy for a long time. My brother, and it's so funny. My brother's best friend. We was in a relationship in the military together as well for a long, long time, and that was the first relationship I was in with a guy for almost 3 years.
So you had been penetrated before?
Had been penetrated from a dude.
Okay. So she pulls out this strap on.
This little strap on. Because she already knew I was in a relationship with a guy at this time. And what we did, oh my God, it was magical. I liked it. I enjoyed that.
Really?
I did. I really enjoyed it.
So going forward, did you ever penetrate her?
After that day, we did mess around. I would penetrate her. She would penetrate me.
Again, I'm fascinated because when I think of a stud, oftentimes, stereotypically, or just from the information that I've ever gotten or conversations that I've had, typically they don't want to be penetrated.
We played basketball. We played sports. She was attracted to women. She still had a woman. She's actually married to a girl now. She's married to a female now.
And technically, so even though she was penetrating you, it technically was not a gay relationship. She's lesbian and you're gay.
And I'm gay.
But that was not technically
a gay and a lesbian relationship.
And there's a term for it, and I still cannot think of what that term
is.
But there's a term when it's a gay man or a gay woman in a relationship with someone of the opposite sex. It's still the opposite sex.
Opposite sex.
Right, but both people identify as gay.
Right, that's what I'm about to say. We identify ourselves as a gay individual.
Right.
Lesbian, me, gay as well. Gay. To this day, I love women that are masculine. It's just something about a masculine female.
So after her, have you ever dated another stud?
I haven't. But I still find them attractive.
What is it that you find attractive about them? That you can't find in just, I guess, a gay man?
You know what it is? Because it's so confusing because I have never came out to my family. I never came out to my mom and dad, but they all say they already know. But this what brings up to when we did get married. I didn't tell them I got married.
Why?
So I just thought it was okay that marrying a female because I was gay that they would be okay, but I still didn't want to say, hey, I'm married now. And one thing I remember is that how my mom and them found out was that I told my favorite cousin, and my favorite cousin told my mother that I was married. And my mama called me, my aunt called me. They were trying to figure out what was going on with me.
Right.
Because I never saw you bring a
woman
girl
home, yeah. And here you are married.
Married now.
So what did you say when they called you?
And I told her.
Is it about the benefits? Is that what you told her? Is that what you told her?
I said, well, we were just talking about it. This is during the time she had got pregnant. So that's when I told my cousin about her being pregnant, and I told my mom. And I mean, she told my mom, and my aunt called me, my mom called me. They were trying to figure out what's going on. I told them why we got married. Because of that. That was my breaking point of saying, hey, this is why I got married due to that. I didn't want to tell no one. I didn't think it was nobody's business because I was getting married only for the benefits and a child.
So she miscarried?
She did have a miscarriage.
At what point? Like 3 months, 2 months?
I think it was in the third month, fourth month.
So do you think about being a father now? Like had she had the baby?
Absolutely. I still think about being a father. I don't know if I want to be in a relationship with a female,
right?
Or with a male. I probably want to be a foster. I probably want to foster. Because
my question would be, if the two of you had that child, like how would you explain that? Because unless you obviously stayed in the relationship, but based on what you're saying now, she's in a relationship with a woman.
Right.
So I'm thinking that her urges or desires to be with a woman, would have been a bit more urgent.
I think it would have been different if we did have a child to this day. I think I would still be with her. I really think so. I would still be with her because when we grew up, we were just so tight. It was like a clique. Like the people we hung out with, we were just like a clique. And I think that we still would be. I think she would be the aggressor.
Do you stay in touch with her?
We still do. Till this day.
So I want to get a little bit more involved, and we'll come to the benefits, these military benefits that you all were trying to rob the government from. No, just right. But what sexually, like, did you feel uninhibited, or did you have to build up to that? Did you have to grow into that? Did you have were you ashamed at first to be like really, really passive? Were you afraid to open your legs or be in certain positions? What was that like?
I wasn't. I like I said earlier, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Just
being the submissive person, they're in an intimate setting. I just felt being just, the submissive person. I felt like if I could be in a relationship with a female, I'm good. So as long as I'm the submissive one, and just the attraction of being with that stud.
So did your submissiveness carry over into other areas or aspects of the relationship, not just in the bedroom? Was it
outside? No, that's the thing. It didn't.
Okay.
I'm more submissive when it comes into the bedroom.
Okay. But in terms of like the daily life stuff, like taking care of things and different roles at home, and
I just being a man and being from the South, you take care of home.
it's interesting because you had sent me this article in preparation of this conversation, and it's called "The Psychology of Reverse Anal Sex."
Right.
So it says, the act goes by many names, and ask anyone today with a dirty mind, and most people will tell you they've heard of it. It being pegging. Few will tell you they've actually done it, but everyone will likely blush a bit when you bring it up. Going by many names, from reverse anal sex, which I've never heard it referred to as that,
Me neither.
to pegging. And it is the stimulating of the prostate in men. It's been long documented as a source of great bodily and sexual pleasure. Now, I'll stop there. I'll come back to the article in a moment, but what's fascinating to me is I had a conversation some time ago. I did a podcast called The Double Standard of Bisexuality. And in that conversation, there was a woman, heterosexual woman, who was present for the conversation with her boyfriend. And she explained that in her previous relationships, not in the one that she's currently in with him, but in her previous relationship, she often would finger the men that she was with, like while they were on top of her, inserted inside of her. She would reach her hand around and she would play with it. And she said often they would flinch or, and move her hand or whatever, but eventually she would put her hand back there. And every man prior to the one that she came and had a conversation with me with enjoyed it. And in that conversation, the guy that she's currently dating, he said, she better not try that shit with me. But I say all of that to say, I don't think that it's quote unquote gay if a heterosexual man wants his prostate stimulated in that way by a woman. I've gotten into debates with people about that, and they're like, "No, that's just gay." I really think that that's just a mental thing, and it reduces us to certain sexual roles or certain traits, like blue is for boys, pink or red is for girls. Like we're confined or limited to certain gender roles. Because
in the black community.
In the black community, right. Yes. Because the reality is the male's G-spot is in his asshole, right?
Absolutely.
So I've had a female friend of mine years ago call me with a girl on the phone that I don't know, and they wanted to know if I thought her boyfriend was gay because he liked for her to strap on.
That's so funny. I was about to ask you that. Have you ever had a friend that ever asked you, "Hey, is my boyfriend gay because he wants me to feel on him, on his anus. He wants me to lick him back there. He wants me to do this and do all that." But I just feel that, most women that ask that question, I think they're being messy, or they would be messy in the fact if you were to tell them, "Oh yeah, your man is gay," or "Oh, try it," So to me, when I have had a female ask me that question, "Hey, I think my man is gay. Do you think my man is gay?" No, I just think that's just something he enjoys doing. Because, like I said, I enjoyed it. It was something I liked, even though I knew I was gay.
Right. But the act doesn't make you gay.
The act doesn't make you gay, because that's just something. If you're not going to do it, Miss Cat is going to do it in the street.
Right.
And when I'm talking about Cat, you know who I'm talking about. Becky.
Right.
Becky's gonna do it.
Right. But again, it just kind of limits, and I've said this before, I think that in some instances, not all.
Some men don't get down like that now.
Some men are not going to be, they're not even going to allow themselves to even try it, or even allow themselves to even be open enough to think about it sexually. But in some instances, not all, I believe that there is a crop of black men, straight black men. I believe there's a crop of straight black men who date outside of the black community because they have more liberties.
They have more liberty.
They have more freedoms. Not just sexually,
Mm-hmm.
but even in terms of the way that they dress. The way that they can wear their hair. You know what I mean? Like, in the black community, we're so limited in the way that we think about things. It's so cut and dry. It's so blue and black. It's so black and white.
Absolutely.
Black men are expected to just wear those same 4 or 5 colors: brown, black, gray.
Boxer brief.
Right. So they can't really experiment in fashion. They can't be interested in the arts.
Absolutely.
But I believe that in some instances there's a crop of black men who choose to date outside of the black race because they don't get judged if they're interested in theater or if they're interested in dance or ballet or whatever.
Right.
But they still are heterosexual. Because a white woman or a Hispanic woman, maybe not so much a Hispanic woman, but a white woman or an Asian woman are less likely to say, "You sure you're not gay?" Simply because, you wear a pair of fitted pants,
Right.
or whatever, or you grow your hair out and put a little color in it.
Metrosexual.
If you will, right.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to this, I think that just because a man wants to be stimulated in that way by a woman, it doesn't mean he wants to be stimulated in that way by a man.
Right. That's all right.
And that's what I say to people all the time. So, which leads me to this next part of this article. It says, social taboo, though it may be, men desiring to be pleasured through prostate stimulation is becoming much more the norm these days. And by available metrics on the subject, things such as sales of strap-ons, an increase in the total web presence of articles on the subject, as well as pornography statistics, is quickly becoming more popular. And it's even more, and mostly discussed behind closed doors, it says.
Yes.
So let's go to, and we'll come back to this in a second, but let's go to these military benefits. So what were these military benefits that you and your ex-wife were interested in enjoying?
What I enjoyed while we were married and when she was pregnant, there, you get stipends, you get housing, especially you get paid more a little bit. Back then, I'm not sure how the system is now, but I know back then you got paid more during the pregnancy. Now, once we found out that she was that she had a miscarriage, all those benefits would stop. Meaning that increase of pay and the stipends and all that good stuff, it do stop. However, being in the military, the benefits are great. Everybody think that being in the military, you get paid well. I probably get paid. Not necessarily. I probably get paid as much as what a teacher get paid. Okay. But
for the kind of work that you do.
For the kind of work that you do. But if you stay on post, you have free rent. If I stay off post and if I'm active, my rent, or if I live in a home, they give you a stipend for that.
They give you a portion, but it's a certain amount. It's a certain amount that they're going to pay.
So where you able to rock the nice clothes and buy you a nice car, and only thing you really paying is like your utility bills at the end of the day.
So why would you not make the choice to stay on post? If they're gonna pay the whole rent, why? Oh, so
if you're not active, say for instance, she's in South Carolina at this time, I'm in Alabama. I'm in school, right? So I'm getting paid, to go to school. She's in South Carolina, so she's getting a good bit of chunk of money while I'm getting a big chunk of money over here. Even though we're in separate services, like she's in Army, I'm in the Air Force. Okay, the benefits are great. I'm not sure how like you said, the structures are now, but back then, if you're pregnant, if you married, you get paid more. Yes, you do.
So, in terms of this whole pegging thing, because I'm back on that now, I've just been kind of glancing through this this article. So, just to give you an exact definition of it, it says, "What is pegging? Pegging is often defined by the act of a heterosexual male and female switching roles, through which the male is penetrated by the female wearing or holding an object that is significantly more closely resembling a penis than not, such as a strap-on or dildo. Most instances involved a secured object which is fastened to the female, and then she inserts it into the male." So are there like communities, do you know, like communities of men that enjoy, like heterosexual men or
I think there
gay
are.
men that enjoy pegging? Because it just seems like it's like a secret community. Because I would be willing to bet that there are more heterosexual men that are in relationships with women, obviously, that are enjoying pegging than not. And they probably aren't willing to say it.
And they're not willing to say it because you know what? It's so funny that you say that. I have an uncle. I know when I was younger, and I know his wife. When I used to go to their home, I remember going into their bedroom, Going into their bedroom.
What were you doing in these people's bedroom?
Well, they were. I don't know what they were doing, but anyway, I was in their bedroom, and I remember seeing a strap on. I do.
This was before you had ever married, though.
Right before. Way
so you
before.
knew what it was when you saw it.
When I saw it, I was like, okay, my uncle. Oh.
And you never said anything to anybody?
No. So I just really I know she's doing it to my uncle. They're not married anymore, but still, you know.
But even in terms of, like, I've had conversations with some of my straight male friends, and one in particular, I asked him if he had ever had a woman eat his ass, and he said, "Man, hell no, man." Like, and I have female friends that, you know, have told me that in some instances, like when they're giving their man oral sex and they're down at the scrotums, or that sometimes they'll slide their tongue down there a little bit, and sometimes they'll move them or whatever, or sometimes they just let them keep going. But in terms of actively a man turning around, and I've seen some little porn things like on Tumblr where a woman was eating a man's ass and he's like on his stomach, and then I've seen him like scoot his ass up. So I've seen arch that back. But I just think that for a lot of closed-minded straight men, they're just, and I've said to my straight friend, I said, you know, you're missing out on some things. I said, things that you would probably enjoy. I said, but you won't even allow yourself the freedom to enjoy it because it's quote-unquote deemed a gay act. But I'm sure there are a lot of women that enjoy eating ass. You all are listening.
Absolutely. A lot of them do. A lot of women want to just explore on their man.
But can't be sexually adventurous.
Right. They want to. There's a lot of women out there that want to do that.
So at the time when you were married, were you ever ashamed to tell anybody that's how your sexual arrangement was, if you will?
No. Now,
you actively would tell people?
Like my friends, I would tell them.
These were gay friends, though?
These were gay friends.
Okay.
Now, I do have some heterosexual female friends, female friends, and they know about the relationship as well. Yeah, they knew about it.
And so none of them ever were like, oh my God. Like,
no, they just, okay, all right.
Really? So how often would the two of you have sex? Did you have like a regular?
We did. Like if we were together, we would. We would have, like, if she was in Alabama, if I went to South Carolina, this is things that we would do.
Now, were you actively penetrating each other, or was it more so she was just penetrating you?
Both.
Okay.
But she penetrated me more.
Okay.
She had penetrated me more. And you know what? It's so funny. Most people in Alabama, in the Mobile area, they either date trannies, like transsexuals, my bad, or
he trying to get us shut down using all these
quickly.
words. Go ahead.
Or I see a lot of studs dating gay men in Mobile, Alabama.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. It might be, like I said, it's the attraction of another.
Or do you
female.
think that there's a lack of out gay men in those areas, and so these gay men opt to date a stud, a masculine lesbian,
stud, a lesbian? Yeah. That could be the case. But with my friends, just being around them when I graduated from Stillman College, moved to Mobile, Alabama in property management, I just noticed that a lot of my friends, they were dealing with studs, and I thought, hey, dude, in college you would mess around with men,
right? You know,
but it was like, no, this is something I like. Guys do it, and girls do it too. So it's the norm in Mobile, Alabama.
So, do you think that in the same way that you and your ex-wife were, having sex, do you think that a lot of those gay guys there are doing the same thing?
That could be.
Or do you think that the studs are allowing them to penetrate as well?
I think both, because a lot of them are, they do have kids.
I just think that this just goes to
kids.
Yeah, and I think this just goes to show that you can't really box people in. That
you can't. And most of them are out, so their family do know about them.
Right.
They do know about them.
Because we just did a conversation with Kelly, who on the Queen Supreme Court show. Okay. And she's a trans woman, and she's in a relationship with a lesbian. Well, a trans man, sorry.
Trans man.
It's a trans man. But she said when they first started dating, he was a stud. He was a masculine lesbian. but he transitioned. And so, again, it's it makes me wonder, like, if he is a trans man, then why wouldn't he just date a biologically born woman?
Born woman. Yeah.
Right. Instead of dating a trans woman.
Trans woman.
Who's technically was born a male. Who was assigned male at birth, I should say.
I think it's just attraction.
Personality, energy, and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
All of that factors into it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what that is, because me, it was more so being attracted, and like I said, I'm still attracted to a stud. I am, to this day.
So do you think that that's what you'd be interested in dating? Do you think you'd be happier dating a stud than a gay man?
Absolutely.
So I'm sure there's probably some website or some place where gay men can meet or date studs.
I haven't searched.
You haven't?
I haven't searched. I haven't.
That is fascinating to me. It is really fascinating to me.
Like, I tried dating men. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't work.
And what do you think is different about the dynamic? Do you think that the energy that a woman, even though she's a lesbian or a stud, do you think that the energy that a stud brings to a relationship balances it more than two men?
I think so, because you're not playing roles. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because if I'm dating a stud, dealing like the young lady I was with, being in the military, she always have been a breadwinner for herself, and I have always been a breadwinner for myself. Mm-hmm. You know, meaning very independent. We have always been independent, and most of the studs that I see that I am attracted to are very independent. Versus me trying to date a guy, is me dating another guy. I always fall into where I have to be in control the most. Mm-hmm. Get what I'm saying?
No, explain that.
So it seems like not me taking care of a man, because I'm not gonna take care of no man.
Right.
But it always falls in line to where, oh, I lost my job. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I need to fall back. Mm-hmm. That type of deal. I always deal with that type of men when I'm getting to know someone. Mm-hmm. They paint this picture of saying of
independence,
but then once you get in that relationship, things change. It shifts.
Yeah.
Because they see where, hey, you know, I can't say my name, but they see where I am independently and what I'm doing as far as my career-wise versus theirs. Then they realize, you know what? Oh.
It becomes a comparison or a competition.
I can get what I want from out of him.
So for you, this is not just about sex.
Right.
It's more so about a holistic look.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You get the sex, but then you also have you mesh.
Values and mesh, you're right. Mm-hmm. The value of being in a relationship with someone. 50-50. That's what I believe in sometimes. I do believe, no, not sometimes, I do believe in 50-50, and I get that from a female than what I would get from a gay male.
Now, is she the only woman that you've allowed to
do that with? Yes.
Peg?
Yes.
Okay, but you're open to doing it again?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think I have heard it all. I don't really know what else to say here. But listen, if this is your first time listening to So Much to Say, please hit the share button. Please share this podcast with your friends, your family, your social media. And as always, the podcast is free, so please follow or subscribe to the podcast. We're available for free in Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, radio.com, wherever you can listen to podcasts. All right? Be safe. Keep loving yourself.
Me having sex with a male, either getting penetrated or I'm penetrating another male, I just felt like it was just more so not a hit and run. Mm-hmm. When we were together, it was more like sensual. You know, did I say that word right? Yeah, sensual. Yeah, it was more sensual.
And I think that, again, it goes back to what I was saying a moment ago. There's a certain energy that a woman brings to a relationship that balances it.
Right.
And one of the things that I've noticed here lately, because, you know, a female friend of mine, was kind of tutoring me, if you will, through a dating scenario that I was in. And there were moments and times that I wanted to just kind of throw my hands up in the air and just be done with it. And she would say, Craig, think about it this way, or do this, or try this. Like, women have this this insatiable desire to make shit work.
Right.
And it's a blessing. It's a beautiful thing that women have, but it also can be a curse, because I think that sometimes the fault or the penalty of being that relentless, if you will, is that sometimes women get hurt. You know, I'm surrounded with women, my mother, my aunts. I have a huge female following, if you will, through social media and, you know, through reading the books. And one of the things that I recognize is when a woman loves you, and I say this in my first book, when a woman loves you, she sometimes loves you to a fault. And no matter how many times you hurt her, disappoint her, let her down, hurt her feelings, she's gonna ride for you. Like she's gonna.
It's like your mother.
Yes.
It's like your mother.
I don't care if it's her uncle, her brother. Like when a woman loves you, and I believe that a woman's love is the closest we'll get to unconditional love on this side of life.
Absolutely.
And so when my friend was able to kind of guide me through this relationship, it was almost invaluable. And I realized that there's a certain amount of energy that a woman brings to a relationship that we don't have, that two men don't have. I don't care how feminine one of the men,
right.
I don't care how feminine one is, there's a certain amount of energy, there's a certain kind of energy that a woman brings to a relationship that two men just don't have. And they have the capacity to nurture, they have the capacity to smooth out in areas that we can't always do it because of our pride, because of our ego. And women just are better about managing their pride.
So true. So true.
And fighting for it.
So true.
Women aren't willing to give up and quit the way that men are.
Two men will do. Or
Absolutely.
men, just period. Men.
And sometimes emotionally our feelings are bruised. Where a woman's feelings can be bruised, but she'll still come back.
She's gonna come back.
Yeah, she'll come back. She'll heal herself. She'll lick her wounds.
Absolutely.
Her own wounds. Talk to her girlfriends, whomever, and then she'll come back.
Absolutely.
You know, even more willing and trying to patch things up and smooth things out.
Absolutely.
One of the best parts of life is when you can admit the truth to yourself about yourself. Cyberspace is a world where one can become something he isn't, but everything he dares to be. I wasn't interested in getting attached to anyone, and I knew I wouldn't take anyone I met online seriously. I had multiple screen names to increase my chances of meeting someone attractive. The majority of the profiles noted HIV negative under status, but I knew better from the work I had done in the HIV community. I knew 1 out of 3 black gay men was positive. The messages I found in my inbox validated me in my depression. In some strange way, they reinforced that I was worthy and deserving. My days consisted of waking up and logging on to see how many messages had accrued overnight. Months passed before I got honest with my therapist about what was happening with me. And before I knew it, I heard myself say, I've been having sex with people I meet online. To listen to more of Words Never Spoken in Memoir, visit audible.com. SayItInACard.com is an online greeting card company that delivers right to your front door. Visit our website, www.sayItInACard.com. You can read the cards, order the cards, and we ship them directly to you. If you feel it, we say it in a card. We have breakup cards, troubled relationship cards, troubled friendship cards, and of course, all of the traditional cards as well, from birthday to Mother's Day. So again, visit us at www.sayItInACard.com. Free shipping for a limited time.